Now that the YouTube tutorial is over, I think I'm live. So what had happened was the live thing, sometimes when you go to it, YouTube's like, hey, you need a tutorial because you've never done this before, not 186 previous times. So let's give you a tutorial on how to go live, and next and yes and next and yes and next and yes my way through it again before it would let me hit the live button. So I'm aware of how the live works again. So we'll start by bash the like button. Let's get that out of the way first, but I will bring it up in there. And I need to, and I say this a lot, I need to say that more in my videos because if my videos got more likes, they get more views, and that would be good for things. But seeing as I've already forgot to say that on over 1,000 videos I produced, maybe I said it in one or two of them, I'll say it now and then I'll try to remember to say it on the next video I produce. And we'll start out with hot sauce. We have here Clancy's Fancy Hot Sauce. And come over here for a second, Marcus. Yes. Is this your favorite hot sauce? All right. This is actually a hot sauce. I like this hot sauce. Don't get me wrong. I think it's good. But I have to take the bottle away because he has been known to drink Clancy's Fancy Hot Sauce.
It's good.
It's good. So it is all natural gourmet hot sauce, and it is by Clancy's Fancy. If I'm not mistaken, let me look. What does it say on here? They're based out of Ann Arbor, Michigan, but I swear there was some other detail that was interesting about them. Either way, they're based out of a local here. I don't know how far-reaching their distribution is. It is a good hot sauce, though. And I'll actually drink a little real quick. Whoops.
Chug, 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 chug.
There we go. It is good. All right, Marcus, put this back in the fridge.
Okay.
It is key. It is refrigerated after opening. So there's the hot sauce intro that we were looking for. So I got that out of the way. Like I said, it is a highly recommended one by my son. Let's see. I'll let the crowd. I should have done a poll first, but do I do things in order? This is a TrueNAS Mini X. And do we talk about this or do we talk about Tesla? I think they're both interesting to talk about. I'm going to bring up a little bit of Tesla talk on here. There's a few people asked about it. He's voting for Tesla. But this is definitely... if when you redo your ad roll, add the smash the like button. That actually is my plan is to do that, is redo the ad roll in there. But this is the TrueNAS Mini X, and it is definitely interesting. It is running right now, and it's so quiet you can't hear it. Matter of fact, I would say our HVAC system here at the office is noticeably in the background louder than this. So, anyways, so we'll log into this. We're actually already logged into it. We just got to get it to do its thing. Download encryption key. I was actually just logging in and setting this up prior to going live. And we'll download the key and done. So what is this thing? This is the TrueNAS Mini 3.0 X Plus. And I'm excited to be doing some demos on it and doing some testing with it. It's a pretty low-powered, quiet in terms of wattage used, but powerful as in it's got 4 10 gig adapters on this thing. I believe there's at least 2, maybe 4. I think there's 4 10 gig. I haven't even gone through all the specs yet on it. There is a press release I'll be able to find and share with you guys shortly. Well, you can find it on my Twitter. You can find it on IX Systems, but essentially, this is the new TrueNAS Mini X. It's one of their new platforms. Are these ones 10 gig as well? They don't say. I know this one's 10 gig. I guess they don't say until they're plugged in. Yeah, these are 10. That's a 10. The CX cards are 10s. These IX Zeros, these are 10 gig Intel onboard, and there's an add-in card with 2 more. So we got 4 10 gig cards. We have a pool, go here to status, of all SSDs inside of here. So I just have to look at the smart status, get the details of the drives. But yeah, definitely a nice fast machine here. There's the boot pool, and there are a bunch of 2 terabyte SSDs. So this is going to be for some really fast testing going on here. I'll use this as a storage server for probably loading up some things in some VMs. I'll probably edit my videos on it temporarily. I will sync it with my current video server and do a bunch of testing, kind of put it through its paces. And it's, of course, currently, why is it running FreeNAS? I'm going to reload this. It's called the TrueNAS Mini, but it says FreeNAS still. So we're gonna fix that and switch it over to the beta on there. That will be on my to-do list as well. I literally, we unboxed it the other day and plugged it in, and my staff was looking at it, and I said, hey, I'll do a video on it, and I'll do it for the live stream today, because I think today's the official release date of it. In terms of the details, we actually got it a few days ago, and I just been really busy the last couple days. My wife had surgery, so I actually been working from home back and forth, taking care of her. She's back home, everything went well, so now I'm here and now catching up on doing some videos and all that fun stuff. So I actually been working remotely all day, and then I'm back in the office where I have my studio set up. So I'll be doing, like I said, a lot of videos. I'll take this thing apart and poke at it and dig into it, but it's another nice lineup that they have add on there. So yes, it shows 63.9 gigs of RAM. That is factually, I wish they just rounded it out. That would be nicer, but they don't, so it shows that. What else was I going to look at on this? There's actually something. I think I got to finish loading it on the latest. Does it have the enclosure on here? Yeah, it doesn't show. I'm trying to see if... I think I got to load TrueNAS to get all the features I'm looking for on here. Either way, I will get that loaded so we can dive deep into it. I'll be doing a much more in-depth discussion on this, of course, after I do testing and do a full review of it. I swear it had in here, and I'm trying to see, and I don't see it in the list here. Like I said, I think it's when you get to the TrueNAS. It should have some enclosure pictures, but I'll find that. Matter of fact, let's just find and read through what IX Systems has released. So that'll give us some information on it. Go to their blog post. So, IX Systems launches professional-grade storage for the edge with TrueNAS Mini X. Compact office storage with up to 85 terabytes of Whisper Quiet HD with a 10 gig networking. So, yeah, this is nice. Yep, TrueNAS 4 RJ45 10 gig, 4 cores. This one actually has two SFP 10 gigs and 2 RJ45 10 gigs. So we have all of them on here. Let's see here. Not too much in here, but I'm going to be swapping it over for TrueNAS. That's going to unleash its potential, even though TrueNAS is not officially out yet. I've been really happy so far with all the testing we do with TrueNAS. But it does have DDR4 and USB 3.1, IPMI for remote management, and uses less than 80 watts of power. That's actually what's really cool about this, is the quiet, low wattage nature. And we have a few people who do things like video editing and stuff like that, especially myself. I'm kind of in the process of buying a new house, and I'll probably need, I already have a FreeNAS Mini at home. Maybe this will be good if I do some video editing at home, because it's got the speed, it's got the 10 gig, and I can have this in my office without it being annoying. Matter of fact, like I said, I'm recording right next to it without a problem. The phone is annoying. I'm going to try and get them to take it out of the room, put it somewhere else. Anyways, back over and catching up with the comments and all that fun stuff. Hardware reservation? Let's see. Yeah, four 10 gig SFP or copper, like two of each. That's what I was. 2 RJ45, standard ones, and then 2 SFP plus 10 gigs are on here. That's what's on the back of this right now. When I get the full review, I'll talk about how it's set up, different ways to configure the RAID arrays. I didn't look, but we can look inside together, kind of. I don't have all the lights on to really dig inside of it. I'm curious, does it have an NVMe? That would be kind of slick if it did, because I'd pop one of those in too. I can't really see inside it very well, but I wonder if that'd be really cool if this did have an NVMe in it. doesn't look like it. I'm not seeing it. Well, even without an NVMe, not that big of a deal. Cool if it did, not a big deal if it doesn't, because it does have a bunch of SSDs in it right now. So it's still going to be reasonably fast for, you know, what it is right here. And that's enough to make me happy. And by the way, even with the lid off, it's louder, but not, I would not consider it loud. I actually really like these little cases. I like rack-mounted stuff when you have room for rack-mounted stuff, but when you don't have room for rack-mounted stuff, having a little systems like this is pretty cool. Put the screws in it so I don't wander off and lose them. Now, on to a couple other things, kind of tech-related here, before I talk about Tesla, is I did do a video on SSH key management and how to generate ED 25519 keys. Someone's going to point out in the video, I called them 2519. I forgot the extra 5 at least one time when I was editing the video, and I just didn't care enough to try to bleep me saying it out. And people, it's weird because I'm showing you the instructions, I'm leaving you the commands, and someone always will comment, you said 1 less 5. That's not the same thing, and there's 2 5s in it, not the 1 5. And but it's not real relevant. Basically, it's the one thing I don't like having to do is rely on someone else's video, is why I created it. There's actually a ton of videos on SSH, but people keep asking me to do a video on SSH key management. So I did one, that way I can reference, like I did when I did the Kali Raspberry Pi video. I made a list of all the videos that you could watch as prerequisites to have better understanding of each thing I did to set up the Kali Linux on the Raspberry Pi. So I also now included in that, instead of telling you to go find another place to watch an SSH video, I have that inclusive. So I've been trying to really do that consistently. New Backblaze HDD statistics. Back to Tom has been out of the office. That's why I have not done a video on it. I will be doing a video on the Backblaze statistics, though. They're always fascinating to me. I tweeted it out because I just have not had time this week to really put any thought into it. And without staring at them too long, I believe the same winners that we've had in the previous quarter are still there. So there's the same HGSTs keep coming out on top for that. So hopefully that's helpful to people who's looking to buy hard drives, that the Backblaze stats, which we can actually look at them real quick. Backblaze hard drive failure report 2020. That's the May one. We don't want May. Where's the latest one? There we go. August. So just for reference, the HGST ones are still on top with the really, really low failure rates. But actually, here's something interesting. And what I want to do in my video is I'm going to go backwards in time. And I wanted to, this is one of the reasons I didn't do a video, just, you know, a quick one. I wanted to do a little bit more in depth. I wanted to compare, for the few years they've been doing this, the failure rates overall on drives. Are they getting better or worse? Because that's another statistic of, well, you know, what did they used to fail at? What do they fail at now? Is the overall average, this number right here, the average failure rate, was it lower or higher in 2020 compared to, you know, 2019 compared to 2018? I think that's another trend that might be kind of interesting to look at, is where are we going with hard drives? Are they getting better or worse? And that's kind of an interesting side note that I do want to dive into a little bit. Oh, let's see. What else do we hear? New Backblaze stats. How do you access your coverage overlay with your AP radio frequencies, multiple APs? I think people overthink the hell out of that. Everyone thinks that's where their problem is. We have done consulting jobs where it's like, oh, I have AP radio overlap. I know that's where the problem is, and we can't get these people to connect. I would say 99% of the time their problem when they hire us for consulting is bad network implementation. We rarely get to the Wi-Fi tuning part because bad network implementation is the majority of the problems we troubleshoot when people call us for consulting. And so that's yeah, there's really, don't overthink that too much. For the most part, the automatic on the UniFi works really well 99% of the time. We throw it in auto mode and it just seems happy. It'll figure out the overlap. I see people spending a lot of time dwelling on that question, and I'm not sure why. But so anyways, I'm not going to dwell on that question too much. Someone's going to tell me I'm wrong and link me to some articles. That's fine too, because I may be wrong about something, and linking to articles, I will read them, provided if you offer constructive criticism, I'm very happy and I do enjoy that. So a little bit of talk about Tesla. Little bit about Tesla, because I had problems. I thought I had problems. Please note, Tesla did not have problems. Tom had problems. So I want to be very clear on who's at fault here. And then, who is at fault here is me, for more than one reason. And I'm working on a really in-depth video on my Tesla. I want to be thorough. I want to be very technical on my video. And what I mean by that is I want to dive deep on particulars of how the car works from a technical standpoint. I'm obviously this is not a car channel, so I'm taking a very tech standpoint to it. This also goes into the tech standpoint of my car. And for those of you that aren't familiar with the way the Tesla charging system works, this is showing this little slider bar right here. You control how far you want your car to charge to. By doing so, it also happens to tell you, on a daily basis, you charge it between here and here. Actually, I usually leave it at like 80% charge, and it just stops charging at 80, and before it goes down below even 50, I charge it back up. And there's no memory on these batteries, so it's fine to keep it in those narrow range. The only recommendation you get from Tesla is don't go below 10%, that's not good, and don't go over 90% unless you're going on a trip, and this is the 90% mark. But did you notice there's 280 miles? And that is telling me the max charge on my car would only be 280 miles. That's where Tom had a problem, because I called Tesla because I was like, no, my car should do over 300 miles. And it turns out that the mileage calculations on my car are based on driving habits, not on battery health. Battery health is calculated separately than the way Tom drives. And the way Tom drives, I work 3 miles from my office. And because I work 3 miles from my office, I drive very, very short distance, obviously, just back and forth, which means I don't charge it very often, and sometimes I turn the AC on before I go in the car when it's hot. So the car actually just sits with the AC on, and then I drive it. So now we have used more wattage for that particular trip than the trip took. Second, when Tom does go out, he's been going to car cruises where I go really, really slow and ride around in traffic. So if I'm out at car cruises riding in traffic, and which I'll show a picture of being at one of the cruises. Where'd it go? Not there. I gotta get to the part of the pictures. So just me doing exactly 1 mile per hour in traffic. So if I'm doing 1 mile per hour in traffic, while you go into the car cruise and ride around, you're using more energy to just, keep the car stopping and going, and running the air conditioning because it was kind of warm that day. So while the AC is running, as you can see, it's 86 degrees right there. And so the AC is running. We had the windows up until we got to some of the parking lots we're in. So all that creeping around recalculated the average miles my car gets. Second, I was perhaps racing people a bit, completely legally though, right? And all of these contributed to my car claiming the max range on it is now only 280 miles. So yeah, it's going to be kind of fun to recalculate it, because now I actually have to drive it somewhere. Matter of fact, the text, because you can text back and forth to Tesla for their service, and the back and forth turned into them telling me essentially that, yeah, here's a list of your trips. They're really short. You don't drive it much, and the short amount of driving you do, you had the AC on, and you went really slow. Therefore, it calculated a really low mileage maximum for the car, and it will just recalibrate itself when you start taking it on road trips again. So I used to have when I first got the car, matter of fact, the first month of the car, we took it on several road trips. So it calculated a really long range for the car. Now that it doesn't go on road trips and there's nowhere to go, it just kind of does that. What makes you want to be in the camera?
Hi.
Hi. Oh. Don't be annoying.
I'm not annoying.
Okay.
I'm watching.
So, anyways, that is the a whole story of now how Tom found out he had a problem and why he was doing this. So, fun times. What else do we have here? So hopefully that makes a little bit of sense, and that's my Tesla talk. Oh, the other thing I wanted to mention about Tesla, because it's trading at over $2,000 a share. So that to me is fascinating because I own Tesla stock, and that makes me smile. It has me in a good mood. So that's my last little thing of Tesla. That's about it. But I thought I'd at least bring it up, and it was interesting, and I will probably do, because I know people have messaged me or tagged me on Twitter, like when I'm going to do a review of the car from a technical standpoint, and I will. Matter of fact, I had tweeted this out as well. This is a really good deep dive into reverse engineering a Tesla battery, and it answered a question I didn't know the answer to, was how many amps, and this was a hack, and this is a DEF CON talk about reverse engineering one of the Tesla batteries, modifying it so before the upgrade, after the upgrade, and actual available watts. And you're talking about 1,500 amps at 400 volts available. So the system inside of there has a way to hack it and modify it, and that is really interesting, of course, to be able to get in there, tinker with it. And one of the interesting side notes of this talk that came out of it, this is from DEF CON. This is freely available on YouTube. There's a link to this particular talk in my Twitter. It's only a couple tweets ago, but it's essentially how to unlock the battery, how to modify some of the settings, how to get that information out, because Tesla publicly doesn't tell you exactly how much is, what kind of amperage you can get out of these batteries. And it is interesting because 1,500 amps times 400 volts is 600,000 watts of power. That is amazing that much can come out. The crazier part is that's not all. You could actually probably get a few more watts out of that system. So that is just a lot of wattage that can come out of that car. And it's just really, really impressive. So, oh man, that's a mouthful. Oh yes, my son's here. As long as he goes with me on jobs. He comes here to the office with me. He's been hanging out with me today. So, it's always interesting. I'm finally slowly getting him into computers. He's mostly seen the video games and not really into tech. I'm trying to get him into some Python programming, as I want him to sit down and learn that. So it is almost a struggle. Even though he's here, you'd think he's interested in technology. No, Dad is making him interested in technology. Me, I was the opposite. I had no access to technology growing up, and I did everything I could to gain more access to it because I had nowhere to go to find, especially, I grew up in the 80s. So in the 80s, it was not very accessible. I used to go garbage picking and find old computers, and I had to learn how to solder and fix broken computer parts, and we used to dumpster dive for the technology. So I put a great deal of effort into grasping at technology. My son, despite being able to give him any computer tech that he would like access to, getting him to a desire to learn it's very different. And my other kids, no interest in it. He's the only one with some interest in technology. So, and I'm trying to find some. I don't force him. I do not ruin his fun forcing him into technology. But it's having him do something. Because if not, he exclusively will play video games. And then every time the video game breaks, his answer is, Dad, can you reload it for me? I don't know how to load it. And I've made him learn how to load video games and things like that. He literally would just get stuck on things. So I was showing him today how to move Steam libraries around because he ran out of space and he didn't want to learn. I said, you have to learn how to do this. I mean, I'm not going to help you every time you run out of space on one of the drives. So that's the disinterest he has somewhat in technology other than to play games. And I think it's important that he have some grasp on it to some extent, or he doesn't know what he wants to be when he grows up. My daughters were much more focused and they wanted to go into medical, so therefore they went into medical and have a good career. Anyways, let's see here. What else can we do? Python shock. Just make sure I catch on all the comments. And another video I'm really thinking about doing is these last two things that Microsoft has done. The shenanigans. The crazy shenanigans. Actively exploited Windows spoofing flaw patch 2 years after disclosure. This has been interesting. I've actually known some security researchers that used to use this as a game for playing some stuff, essentially, of how to get around a few things. And it's been kind of like a dirty secret that's been around after disclosure, where you can get Microsoft to have signed certificates. And now that we know that there are actively exploited things in here, and this has actually been named Glueball, and then another one, this is Operation Powerfall, 2 zero-day vulnerabilities chained together, and they break down what happens. And Microsoft just ignored a lot of this. And I think this is time to bring up again, and I'm probably going to do a more articulate video, but pretty much everyone you see in security research, there's a couple things that are really common. They're running Linux, occasionally running Mac, and for the same reason that they're running Linux is neither one of those people trust Windows. And with good reason. Microsoft has let us down all the way. Microsoft is no longer in any form or fashion surviving at all on innovation of their product. It's the legacy lock-in and the fact that, like, people say, well, why don't you push your clients to Linux, Tom? Which is impractical because of the software our clients use. Force them into using Windows. Windows is not really innovative anymore. It is highly insecure. It is also why every time we're trying to manage things like the remote management tools that we manage as an MSP, every tool set you buy, we use SolarWinds, but any one you try is always just a difficult challenge to get working, and not by fault of the RMM tool manufacturers as much as the fault that they're all trying to wrestle a big broken thing to make it work properly. And Microsoft, well, they're being Microsoft, and they're traditional of, yeah, we just kind of patch it around. And it's what happened is they have built a product that lacks any direct competition. We know this legacy software is going to be around for a while, therefore they just keep producing it. So I thought about doing a video about, Linux, why so many people use it, how as a security researcher, network engineer, developer, it's become the platform of choice, and how Microsoft is pretty much stuck with the business world and the average users because of whatever desktop applications that their enterprise has to run is the only thing keeping users on it. Matter of fact, when it comes down to the home user market, with the exception of games, which Linux is catching up on quickly, we're seeing that even home users don't even care. That's why Chromebooks are becoming so popular, and of course just basic devices like this. So I thought it'd be more getting started, how to get more people transitioned over. Some people are afraid of Linux, they just don't understand the concepts of it, but there is reasons that the ecosystem of Linux, which has become extremely well developed, especially over the last 5 years, I've seen an amazing adoption of the Linux desktop, making it easier to use, easier for people to transition. So I've been wanting to do some getting started with Linux videos. These latest egregious security nightmares that Microsoft has created is definitely like one more push in that direction, in my opinion, of why people kind of need to you just get away from Windows. It's just become a big broken pile of stuff. So yeah, 3 words why use Linux: security, security, security. Yeah, I mean, security is a big function of it. And to say Linux is more secure than Windows is not I like that statement, and it sounds cool for a headline, but you have to quantify that. And there's a lot of quantification that has to go into it, because how are you using to measure that? Saying something secure is a word, not a actual factual measurement. Is it secure? Well, who do you ask? If you were to ask Xavier if something's secure, he's going to say, well, it's something that's not just a blanket statement of yes or no. So you have to quantify it, qualify how you're going to describe its security, and of course the way you implement things. So it's trying to figure out where to start sometimes is challenging for me, to try and figure out where I want to start on that topic so I can really discuss it and turn it into a solid, articulate video with that information. So it's one of those little details and things that you can do. So are there good AD alternatives? for managing Linux would come down to running something like Ansible scripts to configure the devices. Ansible and AD, two very, very different animals. Ansible is going to be more along your lines of how you manage groups of servers. It would be more like a component of AD of how you would script something, like you'd send out a script to install something or have a policy that automatically downloads something. As far as like user management, yeah, there's nothing good. Grayson can say all he wants that free IPA is good, but it's not a good AD alternative. It's not. AD is what really hangs people up if they need that central user management experience as opposed to, managing individual users. But the fact is that matters less and less every day. Let me explain. Many of my friends who work at places where there's developers, and Facebook is actually, they do this from a developer standpoint too. And what happens is they create a single sign-on token and they use everything, almost all of it, browser based. So they're not really relying on the machine. They're able to develop in a browser where you have essentially a single sign-on, not behind a VPN. So the kind of local user management that you get with Active Directory is becoming less and less relevant to the way you manage systems. Matter of fact, by doing it in a browser, you create a better detachment from the local users. And most of the time, most people have one laptop per, like let's say this is their work laptop, as it is for me. I don't need to manage 20 users on this particular laptop. I have multiple staff. It's not like I'm hot seating over here and I got one computer and I rotate 10 different staff between that one workstation. That was definitely how it worked in the earlier days when I worked in IT. You had multiple users, you had an AD sign-in where they would do that. Now, people don't, well, I mean, there's exceptions to every rule, but for the most part, less people hot swap a computer. They're not changing users all the time. And so that becomes less relevant. From an IT management, especially large scale management standpoint, delivering things via a web application for login, way easier. I have one central place. I update whatever corporate application we're doing in a web application format. I don't have to go deploy it on 50, 100, 1,000 workstations trying to update software that once again, back to the Microsoft problems, won't go well. Some computers will take the updates, some computers won't, and now you have more time dealing with it. So we're seeing the enterprise move over to more web-based applications. It's a slow move. Legacy takes a long time, but as we do that, the need for managing users on the local desktop is kind of fallen away, and it'll be less of it. So, yeah. Yep, so basically you lock the machine down, thin client like Chrome. That is going to be more common. It becomes an easier way to manage things. So it's but all of this is not one and done. It's a long tail of making all this work. It's a slow iteration. Older companies struggle with this because they're so embedded in the way they do things. Change is not easy because there's so many systems that have to be upgraded. New companies start up, and technology frequently puts them ahead of the curve because they start from ground zero. What would be a better way to do this? Especially when they have people who left those corporate companies and they go, oh, we know everything that we hated about the way things were done there, but the company's a living, breathing, moving machine that we can't turn off and switch. And the management said that sounds too expensive to switch. So he started a new company that filled in the shortcomings. Me and my friend were having a discussion about Quicken Loans and how they became so big by leveraging technology in the mortgage industry to create a better mortgage process to put them very much ahead of the slowly moving, archaic, old companies that traditionally did mortgages. So it's one of those things. It's going to be slowly, taking over, but it takes time. But that's kind of my rant on it. Maybe I'll do, like I said, more getting started with, and from a more bring it all the way back down to the smaller aspect of it, like Tom's laptop, talking about all the different tools, tmux, proxy chains, all those little things I like to talk about that you can use right here on the desktop. I don't need multi-user management. I need a lot of tools to diagnose. I need to be able to VPN somewhere real quick. I need a lot of diversity. I have all that right here in my Linux distribution. I also need all that to be secure. Got that too. So that is, it's just one of those things that would bring it around. So back to, what else was I thinking about that I wanted to show? Oh, I tweeted this and someone said it looked neat. These are one of those things too. Bring up. things I load on my computer. I think Xavier had played with before. I don't know if he had played with the which version he played with though. So what do we have here? There we go. We can see how much processor power and all this. This is it's called BashTop, but this is a Python implementation of BashTop. So you can see all the things running. You can see all the pretty colors that come with this, how I can run through all my processes. I can kill processes if I want. So this is pretty neat. Cached available. I like it. It's just cool stats you can get for here. But this is one of those things about Linux is the absolute customizable nature of it makes it that much more interesting. The argument of which distro, which version you should use always comes up, but is also everyone's right. This is the fun and almost aggravating answer to Linux. You can get more than one answer, and both those people are right. One person likes this desktop for the right reasons. The other person likes a different desktop for their reasons, and both those people are right. It comes down to opinion. And this is also what causes people to not like Linux, because people are used to this mono thing that is just Windows. It's one thing, so they don't have to think about what they want. It is just given to them, and there's no choice. And it's just a mentality. Some people, they go, I want to think about the art I create, not the operating system I run. Therefore, this seems like a more complicated way to accomplish that. So I get it from both sides, and it comes down to what you want to do. So is Tom blurry? I might be blurry. Yeah, distro hopping is a Linux thing for sure. A lot of people just like trying different distros. And if you take your time and learn how, because there's no registry, how everything's just a series of basic files on there, not only can you distro hop, you can build a series of scripts that reset your system right back up, reset up all your common files in your home drive to make the system customized to you after you change distros. So definitely pretty slick the way all that works. So someone wants to know if pfSense has a spam filter. I don't think spam filtering is ideal to be handled really in a firewall. I mean, you could, but there's better solutions out there. It's not something that's integrated in a pfSense. So good open source spam filter, I'm not aware of any. Forever ago, I used to be a mail server administrator. I brought this up before. I used to use ProcMail and Spam Assassin. I have not used those tools in probably 8 or 9 years. Hosting your own mail server is just a headache. It's not worth my time anymore. We either put people on the Google G Suite system or the Office 365 system. When it comes to handling massive amounts of email, that's just the most practical. If you like Proton Mail or you like one of the other ones that are, have more anonymism, I guess you could say, or levels of security in them that you may find more appealing than those two other companies, that's fine too. But running your own mail server, inbound is easy, other than spam filtering. Outbound, not getting on some list, that's a headache. There's a lot of people who've been mad because things go to spam when they send them from their home mail servers. Yeah, welcome to where most spam comes from, is hacked servers on local IP addresses. Most mail servers block anything coming from a common, essentially consumer IP address. They just blanket block it and say, yep, you're gone. You can't send mail from those addresses. So you have to figure out which relay servers you want to pay for to do that. And usually you have to use something. Mailgun is popular. Outbound.mailhop is another one. Mailhop is a company that offers relaying for mail. So you can have a home mail server and then pay to relay the mail off somewhere that may not get caught in spam, but it still does sometimes. Hopefully that helps. Let's see. GPU info. There is, but I don't remember how. There is a way you can look up GPU info. I just forgot how to do it, so I haven't done it in so long. But I think, let me see. Matter of fact, for mine, it's, well, no, it's not on mine. It's on my other computer. You can pull up the NVIDIA server settings. That's one of the ways to do it. You can do LS. you can dive into like LSPCI and it will start breaking down different things and you can expand it out. Is it -V? Yeah. And you can go through each one of the different processors that are in here and stuff like that. So there's tools to dive into exactly what's in your system as far as that goes. I don't think much about graphics cards in computers because I do on my gaming system, but that's running Windows because the game I wanted to play didn't run in Linux. So I do myself am guilty of having a Windows computer still for games because I think that's what well, if it wasn't for the game not working in Linux, I probably wouldn't, but anyways. Yeah, Sophos probably still has something in there. So yeah, the AC system is definitely an annoyance, the fact that it does bleed through. We actually have some sound baffles I put up, and it's actually louder in this room than it is in the other one. I don't know why. It just seems to echo in the ceiling here. So even though the actual HVAC system is in the very back of the building and we're at the front of the building, for whatever reason, it just echoes and reverberates. It's a low-level one, so yeah, whatever. I can't really do a lot about that today. One day, because I do plan at some point to rebuild studios. So that's one of my thoughts. Matter of fact, because I kind of mentioned before that I'm working towards selling my house. My house is actually listed on the market. So now that I'm selling my house and we have a deal in place to make all this happen, to buy another house, I may be building a studio there because the other house is relatively close to the office. That way I have a dedicated, even bigger studio than we have here, because as we expand, we need more space here, and I'll bump my studio out and move it to home where I'll just make the videos there, which actually might have me making more videos because I'll have a dedicated spot. I can just get my coffee in the morning, walk to the studio, and do videos. So that's big long-term things I'm working on. So that's a whole nother process going down. But the selling my house has been interesting because there's a lot more analytics you get now for real estate. And so I know how many likes I have on, or likes or saves on Zillow, things like that. So being able to see some of those details is kind of neat for the real estate analytics. I dove right into the technical side of it pretty quickly. So that's, I won't segue too much on that, but anyways, back to Linux and stuff. Those are the topics I had. I'm trying to think. Oh, besides working from home has been a little bit interesting. My staff has let me know that productivity is up because I'm not here to distract them and throw things out there that need to be done. So they're focusing on all the things that they already have to do, and I'm not distracting them, which is actually a goal. The goal is to check out the Waves NS1 audio plugin. Okay, I'll see if that works. I want to put a Pittsburgh toilet in the new house, so a Python script to dump houses into a Google Sheet. Well, I already found a house for sale, but I still am interested in the Python script. The new house does not have a Pittsburgh toilet. That is not in there. But there's room for a Pittsburgh toilet because got to find the picture here. I say new house. There's deals in place, but not to me. No deals ever close until the papers are signed. But that is the. This is the basement where the new studio might end up, and this is a wide-angle view of it, so you can tell it's quite big. But it does not have a Pittsburgh toilet in it. So. Then the cat doesn't come with it either. But these are 9-foot ceilings, so definitely going to be an easy place to build a studio into. So I'm kind of excited about that. That is going to be a thing. Let's see. I live stream on a Windows computer because the OBS on Windows works better. Once again, the only reason I'm using Windows is to solve a problem that doesn't work well in Linux. Now, Jay from Learn Linux TV has been working on using Linux and OBS along with this. He figured out some ways to make it work, but it's still not perfect. I have to kind of regroup with him at some point to dive into how he may have it working better. I'd love to switch my studio computer to using Windows, using Linux instead of Windows, but I don't know how possible that's going to be. So, yeah, well, that's another problem, the plugins. A lot of the plugins are Windows only as well, so there's yet another issue. So if I wanted to switch, then I was like, okay, then now I have two problems. If I find a plugin I like, or even the ones I do have in here, they won't work inside of Linux, so now I'm back to just more problems. And if those problems are inhibiting me from getting videos done, then I don't get videos done and people are unhappy. So it's been a challenge. Yeah, just grab a toilet and sit down. And the good news is the basement is plumbed, and if I build a studio down there, I will put a toilet in there, or at least a urinal. Man, I don't want to have to go upstairs to pee because 9-foot ceilings also means it's actually a pretty steep staircase. I got to go up 9 feet. So. You might need a lot of baffles to keep washer and dryer quiet. Actually, the house is pretty big with a first floor laundry, so the laundry being on the first floor means the only thing in the basement is the HVAC system, and that will end up walled off. So we'll build a walled off area, or I might build my studio upstairs because there's an extra bedroom that I may build it in. So I got a lot of thinking to do of how I want to do it. So there's all kinds of options for sure. It's an open floor plan, which creates its own noise challenges, but then the bedroom that would probably become my studio is on the other end, and there probably wouldn't be any noise there. And so like I said, lots of things I'll have to decide how I want to handle, how I want to do it. I like this big table, and maybe I have two studios. I have one here and one at home for doing the more tutorials. I don't know. That's all fun stuff I get to figure out and play with. If anyone wants to buy my house, it's for sale though. I've had a lot of people looking at it. We're still accepting offers because we haven't had the offer we want on it. So that's still a thing. So let me see. What other errata do I have to cover here before I wander off? Because I only have a little bit more time and I got a few more things to go do. What are the other questions we have for the good of the class? But someone mentioned a Python script for finding houses. They'll tag me in a tweet or message me on Twitter or post it in my forums. I think other people would be interested in a Python script that pulls there. If you have a GitHub account, post that in my forums. I think that'd be pretty cool. A lot of people would, what do you call it? A lot of people would have an interest in that. There's other tech people that buy houses too. Yeah, but I'm not. The rack stuff is not moving home. That's one thing. I do not plan to do that. That is all the rack stuff. Definitely is something that stays here. How close am I to Joe Louis Stadium? About 15 miles, I think. Didn't they tear Joe Louis Stadium down?
I think so.
I think it's torn down.
My favorite comment about Joe Louis though was that it was a Google review. They said they should hire Sherpas to help you navigate the stairs in winter.
Oh, yeah. Let's see.
Because it's Little Caesars Arena they play at now.
Yeah, they play at Caesars Arena, so. There we go. This was the final piece. This video was taken down. So I am relatively close to what used to be. It's January 15th, 2020. So that's what the stadium looks like now. It's gone. Yes?
I'm going to 7-Eleven.
Okay. So that's what the stadium looks like now. There's not really a stadium there. There's what used to be. There's a pile of rubble. So, yep. That's Joe Louis. So That is no more. Everything's now done at Caesar Arena. I'm not worried about rack mount equipment at house. I keep very few. If you just type in Joe Louis Stadium, it's the first link for Click on Detroit. Joe Louis Stadium final pieces is you'll find that list. But, yep. Let's see, what else do we have here? Wherever the Red Wings play. I don't watch any sports, but I'll assume that everyone plays at Caesars Arena because I think that's where everyone goes now. So, can you use a Stream Deck as a you can use a Stream Deck as a lot of things. I don't know if it works as a DVR. Right now with the Stream Deck, the way it's set up here is it switches between my multiple inputs. I actually have more inputs. The camera's not in reach, but there's a third camera input. But you can take multiple feeds and switch between them in real time, which is actually how I edit, well, avoid editing, I should say, a lot of my videos. So when I'm doing a tutorial, if I have to switch between here or other views, I just use the Stream Deck to change between those views without having to create multiple streams and then edit them in post and string everything together. That's one of the reasons I use it for a Stream Deck. So I actually have a few videos on my studio where I break that down and how I use the Stream Deck and how I talk and you know my process for making videos on it. So yeah, I thank you, Jeff, and see you later. Chat with you later on here. But I have to run in about 5 more minutes too. So DVR software program, I have no idea. I don't record anything. I haven't recorded anything in, like, I ever did cable over like 10 years ago. Like the last time I had cable seems like it was 2009-ish. So yeah. Yeah, Learn Linux TV has a Stream Deck. He bought one because I had one, and he liked using mine. If you go backwards, before he built his studio, he used my studio. Me and Jason are friends, so that's how we use my studio. He moved a little further away, but he used to live about half an hour from here. He lives closer to an hour away right now. But I chat with him every now and then. He's great. He got a lot of great tutorials. He just did a whole new series on Ansible. So how they get hacked tomorrow? Seems likely. I got to confirm with Xavier. I think I seen him on here earlier, but I'm pretty sure we'll have a how they got hacked tomorrow. So I don't know if he's still on here, but yeah, me and Xavier actually talked quite a bit. We had a we had a good discussion about VDI chains and coalescence, and so I usually ask him cybersecurity questions and very technical stuff that he's extremely well knowledgeable on, and he's been diving into my world a little bit with virtualization servers and learning about VDI chains and coalescence of data when it comes to what not to do when you're setting these things up. So there's always like more to learn. It's kind of a lot of fun. We're waiting on Mo, so it's a Mo decision, not a us decision. Mo has an invite to come on. I don't know what to say when he doesn't. So we all we can do is extend an offer, and it is up to him if he wants to come on how they got hacked. He is preoccupied doing other things. That's as much as I'll say. Whatever he wants to do, he can go do. So, what else do we have here? What other errata? I could probably look at things I tweeted, but I think that's the last of the things I really came up with today. Oh, Security Onion. I am working on that, but I've run into some roadblocks, and those roadblocks are going to be diving into. And this is what it looks like when you pull up Security Onion. I'm trying to find some of the best way to feed all these logs and analytics in here for Security Onion. So there's still a lot more to go before I make the videos on that. Now, I might do at least a teaser of what is Security Onion and getting started with it. I can do the basics, but I want to cover some of the advanced things I'm learning in Security Onion and share with people exactly how to do this. So right now it's doing log ingestion for my firewall and gathering data from Wazoo and OSEC to feed it right now. Just got a couple sensors set up in there. It's just trying to figure out where to start, trying to find time for this. They sell training packages both for Wazoo or Security Onion, and one of the reasons is it is just doing threat hunting is not trivial. This is a very complex set of things. And like I mentioned in the forum, someone says, what's a good, intrusion detection system for Linux? I'm like, oh, you got Wazoo out there. And they came back later going, yeah, I read through the documentation. That's a lot. And they go, I only started reading through documentation. I'm like, yeah, there's a lot to learn. The learning curve on some of this stuff is, it's a lot, but it's also because there's so many features of it. So it's, yeah. You need a fast computer. So if you don't have a fast system, you're not running Security Onion. If you want to do port mirroring, you need a really, really fast system. This is actually the nature of any other tool that is similar to Security Onion. When you want to do full threat monitoring and analyzing that data, you're going to need lots of cores, lots of RAM, and if you want to store all the port mirror information, which is generally what you need to do forensics, well, you're also going to need somewhere to store it all. So some of the specs, when we've talked to some companies and we actually engaged with the Security Onion people directly on this, and for a deal, the people were a little bit sticker shock for what they wanted to do and how much the hardware would cost to run Security Onion on, because they had so many sites to monitor and everything else. So it's kind of a big project. So I have to find the time to do it. I have to find the ways to articulate it to make it very understandable, because you can understand things in different ways. For me, I have to understand it fully or I can't explain it. I don't like telling you that the button goes here and click this box. I like to know the why, and I myself want to know why, and I know my audience does. So for me to make a video on something means I've really spent the time talking about edge cases, how to set it up, how to configure it. I tear these things down and rebuild them multiple times before I do a video. So when you see me go through a video, what makes the video look simpler is the fact that I have so many hours of prep time making sure I understand a product, or in many cases, it's because I'm using the product so much. And I don't use Security Onion a ton, but I've used it somewhat, and it's still something even myself I farm out. If it goes to a business setup, I farm out to experts to do, and then we pivot from there. Once it's already set up, I can manage it, but implementation can be a little bit tricky, especially tuning Wazoo is not trivial either. So it's just a lot to do, and it's hard for me I know how to do it slowly. I need to do it fast and be able to articulate it into a video. That's on my to-do list. And it's also anytime you're pushing yourself to learn new skills is a happy time for sure. pfSense in beta mode? Not lately. I don't think I'm running the latest beta on any of none right now that I can think of. I had a VM I was running it in. It seemed to work in testing. I didn't have time to do it in production. I have another system I might move to the beta, my home one, and see how it works out. But I just haven't really taken the time to do it. It's on my to-do list, but not on my done list. But there's a lot of people beta testing it out there. I have too many things at my office to try to run my office on the beta. That's one challenge for sure. So hopefully, yeah, it's not easy to make something look easy. That is very true. And you'll never be as wrong as when you're wrong on the internet. So if you're going to make a YouTube video, don't be wrong about a YouTube video. Don't put out bad content. You'll get called out on it really quickly, which is fair. You should be called on it really quickly. And I've even had people who started in the they've started in the YouTube world and then very quickly realized that, oh, it's not quite as easy in there. And right now I'm looking at the comments to see if there's anything new on the SSH key one, and that's another one that's going to end up with a lot of people debating because there's different ways to do it. They're not wrong, but there are a lot of factors in setting up SSH keys, and yeah, I'm watching the debate rage on about that. So, but at least I have a video on it now I can reference to here. So, internet connection at the office I think is a 300 or 250? 250. We have like a 250 by 10 or 20. 250 by 20. That sounds right. I think very little about these things. It's set up. It's whatever the bill is. We have more. When in doubt, read Michael Lucas's book. Yes. Yes, that is definitely on my to-do list, is to read Michael Lucas's book on SSH. Highly recommend it. I have skimmed through it. I'm not confident enough to say I've read all of it, but there's certainly really interesting things inside of it. I want to implement the DNS text record for implementing the keys. So you can create the keys, put them in a DNS record, and write a script that pulls from a DNS record to do key updates. I believe that's in his book. We played that out as a theory, and that might be some fun things to do where you can keep all your keys up to date for your authorized key files. But of course, that's also scary if you're doing it via DNS and you have it on public DNS, because, well, then if someone were to hack your public DNS, they would send out all the wrong keys to everything. So it's novel. I don't know if it should be on the public internet, but there's things you can do like that. So if that's all we have today, yeah, big book. A few people seem to ask if I wanted to write a book, and I was like, that seems hard. I like making videos better than writing. And videos seem to be just an easier format for me to handle. And because there's constantly changes, I just make a new video on the new version of the software. I should do a video on creating, updating HTTPS web certificates. No, I shouldn't, because that's not my field of expertise. Use Let's Encrypt with the automatic certificate management engine, Acme, and Let's Encrypt will magically take care of all the certificates for you. And I say magical, but you can obviously look behind the scenes on the code that runs for that, and it's pretty straightforward. Yes, you can drop your keys into Git and pull them from there as part of your setup script. That's definitely a possibility there. But yeah, web certificates, just use Let's Encrypt. Cool, Lars getting a 36-bay Super Micro. That's awesome. Build your new FreeNAS server on that, or TrueNAS is what it's probably going to be. TrueNAS is just around the corner, right? I think September is when we get to release candidate. By release candidate, we should be fine. I have been running beta of TrueNAS, and I've had no problems with that. That's been going really, really well. So, yeah, UniFi servers with Let's Encrypt is kind of... I don't know why they don't build it in. That is an absolute puzzle to me why they don't build it in. So... 12 cores, 32 gigs of RAM. That makes a happy FreeNAS server. But yeah, Let's Encrypt is really just what everyone should be using, in my opinion. Just go with Let's Encrypt. Use their Acme system, which is, built into pfSense, built into FreeNAS, built into like lots and lots of things now. And it's the, even if you do it manually, so to speak, and how to install those certificates, not that it's hard to install manually, getting them through the automated Acme process so you don't have to do the old school signing cert stupid stuff that I always hated doing. We used to have to, when I managed Exchange servers and things like that, install certificates so the Outlook web access would connect to people's phones. God, this was 10 years ago or longer that I was doing it from before then. So those used to always be a pain to manage, set up, restart, and stop services, get the signing cert. I hated installing certificates. Can you think of a reason a data center would use MD5 encryption instead of for an IPsec? I don't know. Oh yeah, email validated certs for $150. Yeah, why would you buy certs? I don't know. Just use Let's Encrypt. Buying certs definitely was... Let's Encrypt's just going to keep slowly destroying the certificate industry. So it's good. What do you use for patch management? apt-get update. That's how I update all my servers. You can install something called unintended upgrades in Linux to automatically patch. And if you're talking about Windows, SolarWinds. And Windows, and hopefully Windows updates. Hopefully SolarWinds tells us when Windows doesn't update, and it just, brace for impact, what broke next. What element of my job do I enjoy the most? Ooh, solving problems is definitely right up there at the top. It's fun. It's challenging. Meeting new people is always fun. I meet a lot of interesting people that I get to talk to. Less so in person in these days, but that's actually been kind of fun too, just meeting the real interesting people. Hardware or software, what do I find interesting? I don't know. Virtualization is still just a favorite toy. Playing with firewalls and like anything I've done a video about is something I just enjoy, and it's hard for me to put them at different levels of fun. They're all just playing with tech all day is definitely happy stuff to me. Callie was 0 tier. That was a fun video to put together because there's a lot that goes into it. So that's definitely a fun video. That's why I've been working on it for a little while to get it out there, and it seems to be doing well. A lot of views on it, so I'm excited about that. I'm always happy when people are watching the videos, just because all that effort seems wasted if no one watches the video. But if someone does watch the video, you're like, cool, they like it. They find usefulness out of it because they cover so many topics and they learn something. That's actually one of the things that is my greatest joy of the job, is teaching people things is something I really enjoy. Networks or systems? Yes. I can't say that I love one more than the other. I mean, this is a system. It's connected to the network. The two need to work together. I enjoy the network engineering standpoint. I enjoy setting up a storage server. So once again, I can't play favorites on that. I like knowing both. That would probably be a good way to put it. I know, it's always one of those things. 45 minutes of still streaming after I have to go in a few minutes. My wife hasn't called or said she needs anything, so there's not much for me to do yet, so I can keep hanging out longer. IPsec for managing client networks. Seems tedious, but do whatever. I don't know. I mean, IPsec, you could create a tunnel between each network. And then what do you do when you are like us and have 300 businesses you manage? Do you going to create an IPsec tunnel to each of them? That becomes impractical. Remote management tools like Screen Connect are more manageable. It all depends. I've had people say they want to manage each one of their clients with a VPN. That's fine, but if you're thinking in terms of scalability, IPsec tunnels to each of your clients may not be the most scalable solution. Especially because you have all the network crossover problems, because guess what happens when more than one client has the same network range? Now what? How do you route to that? Phone I use is just a Pixel 4, nothing special. I don't root my phones. So what else do we have here? Foreman. No MikroTik question. And, by the way, no MikroTik questions, and no one's asked about, what do you call it, OpenSense yet. But I'm sure that person... This is actually, because I didn't schedule that far ahead of time, there's fewer people. And when there's fewer people, there's not as many things. Someone asked if I got something at... No, I did not go to Wispapalooza, so I didn't get anything there. So whatever you're seeing and asking about, I didn't get it at Wispapalooza. So that's about it. I don't think I have anything else. Is there any questions for the good of the class? 63 likes, 2 dislikes. There's always someone to dislike it. If there's 180 of you, so if you guys could smash the like button, if you could go do that. Does anyone want to see my house I'm selling? Is there any interest in that? Do I have all the photos in here of it? Where oh, this broke. These are other things Tom does. That broke. That's my pulley for my my fidget spinner, as I kept calling it, for my lawnmower. I had to go buy a new pulley for that. So there's other things Tom does occasionally. Like I said, I'm going to probably do some separate videos on, what do you call it? The different aspects of motorcycles I work on and stuff like that. Not on this channel, on my personal channel. I mentioned that before. I still haven't had a chance to do any because I've been so busy with stuff, but... Yeah, my move is from Michigan to Michigan, so I'm not moving very far. My home network setup is extremely boring and not even worth talking about. I don't even have a single VLAN at home because it's not necessary. Not for what I do at home. I've got some Chromecasts at home, and that's about it. Wi-Fi at home because I use this. When I work from home, I just use this laptop. It does seem like a handful of people decided to join my personal channel after this, so that did occur. All IoT devices at home. Yeah, the only thing I really have at home is a couple Chromecasts. There's some Chromecasts. There's a FreeNAS that actually dumps all the games on it. So I have 2 gaming computers, a FreeNAS, my wife's laptop that she does whatever she does on it, and a couple Chromecasts. That's it. My home network is pretty boring. Not much to talk about. It is protected by a pfSense, but yeah. Home fiber. Yeah, that's not a thing. I will hardwire some things are hardwired because I have like a Chromecast Ultra which is hardwired. So you cannot install pfSense on a Raspberry Pi. My home personal channel. I have to find it. Because it doesn't have a fancy name. So you have to do things like find it like this. So we find here. Oh, yeah. I guess it does have a fancy name.
Hello, I'm Tom, and this is my channel.
So for those of you curious about my personal life, anything personal goes there. So I don't care who subscribes to it. There's lots of just complete randomness on here. That's all my personal channel is. There's a picture of what my car looks like. Test of the live stream. My car. So I had another test I uploaded too, I thought. What else is on my channel? Oh, so this is one of the things you can't tell. I had some sound, but I didn't know if it was copyrighted or not. So what I do is I'll upload a video to my personal channel, and it will let me know if the sound or audio in it is copyrighted, because I don't want to copyright straight on my main channel. So doing this is how I can test that. So plus I was just playing around with video. I like playing around with video editing. Sometimes it's kind of just like a hobby type thing. So that's why all that's there for the personal stuff. Do you need to open port 80 for validation? I recommend using DNS authentication for Acme. Yeah, if you're doing Let's Encrypt search, use DNS authentication. Oh yeah, Project Money Pit. Yeah. Project Money Pit is that's definitely a most expensive project that's in there. So when you go to the uploads, for those of you who don't know, that's the dirt going back in. This is the giant hole that was my backyard. So yeah, that happened. This is from them digging into my backyard to replace the sewer lines. So that was an expensive ordeal for sure. But yeah, there's random videos on my personal channel. There's nothing but it's only for those curious about something I do personally that I choose to share that. It's all you really find. You won't find much else. Probably old videos I should delete. There's probably something embarrassing on there. That I'm sure of. Yes, that is the house I'm selling. So I can, if anyone wants to see it, I think I have. These are all the house photos. This is what the house looks like now. That's the backyard now that it's all filled in. But yeah, this is the house that I'm selling. It's my son's room, if you can't guess, with the Minecraft stuff. I'll share my house photos before I leave. Bedrooms, bathroom, kitchen, bar, dining area, another view of the dining area. This is I've talked about this before. This is a big sound system I have in the house. That's a 70-inch TV with the Sherwin Vega speakers around it. Speakers are up here too. Where'd it go? There we go. Another picture of my living room. Another picture of my dining room. Another angle. Furnace, laundry. That's it. It's all the pictures of my house. The house I'm moving to is better. It's also a cool house. I'm moving from a cool house to a house I think is cooler than the one I live in now. So, when you port mirror to security in, does the mirrored port have to be direct contact with security, or can it be VLAN to a dedicated VLAN? Depends on how you configure your switches. Ideally, you want it connected directly, so you don't necessarily want it a separate VLAN. You just want a mirrored port. So you take the port in and out, you'll have them come in and out, and you mirror those ports together so you can set up a port tap. Look up how to do a port tap. It'll better describe it than I'm going to mumble through right now. So hopefully that's helpful. So I think that's about it. But that's my house. That's for sale. If you want to buy my house, tweet me or something. No pictures of the secret den because there's not a secret den. Yeah. Nope, there are no. By the way, boring note: house is not hardwired. There's not even network cables in anything other than the gaming room and to the back of the TV. That's the only place that there's any network cables in the closet where they originate. And there's not even a rack. There's just 4 network cables in my entire house. 4, 3 or 4, 3 or 4. That's it. It's not many. Not much to look at. Like I said, that's why I didn't do any home network tours. And with the new house, maybe I'll put a few more things in, but all my stuff stays here at the office. So, no plan to move from Switzerland to Detroit. Well, there's an opportunity to move from Switzerland to Detroit. I don't know that this is the best time to come here to America. So, I'll let you decide that. Hello from Greece. So... yeah, there's not many stuff. No, there's no phone lines in my house, so. I'm only selling my house, and my asking is $200,000 if you want to buy my house. So that's what houses go for around here. If you took my house and dropped it in California, a few people commented in one of my other friends. I posted this on Facebook, and someone had said, "Wow, that would be worth $700,000-800,000 if it was California." I'm like, "Yep, south of Detroit, not very expensive compared to California." So, yeah. So asking $200K, seeing where the offers come in at. New house, not really wired either, so, but it doesn't need to be. But it has a basement, so it's actually easy to wire. Oh yeah, if you sell the house, you have to move the wife and kids with you. That's not wrong. Hey, my house does have 4 bedrooms. 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms. So there's plenty of space. Anyways, I don't think you guys want to hear me babble on about my house, so I'm probably going to end it here and go wander and go. I got a few more things I do have to get accomplished. hey, look, people subscribing. New people subscribe to my channel. So I get notices on my phone for my personal subscriptions. Let's see, what do we have here? So, all right. No, there's no pets. Matter of fact, there's no pets and there's no carpet in my house. I have, if you didn't notice, hardwood floors throughout the house. So it's not hard if you wanted to add wiring to the house. The crawl space is finished and like sealed in plastic, so it's easy to get under the house. It's got a 3.5 foot crawl space, so you can easily run wires underneath the house if you want. But it's yeah, no pets in the house. Well, do you count my son as a pet? I have kids, which are arguably more difficult to deal with at some time than pets. So, but overall, the house, you can tell by the photos, I keep things rather clean there. And without any carpet, there's no, I don't know, no stains or anything like that, because it's always just, we keep the floors mopped. So, I got a big yard, in case you didn't notice. So, oh yeah, then if you consider kids, then you have 4 pets. Fair enough. You do not transfer large files at home like uncompressed 4K movies. I do not. Yes, kids are not pets because they're tax deductible. That's a very fair point. They do not offer the tax deductions that I could really use, but at least they are tax deductible. So we'll go with that. All right. Well, thank you all for joining. It's been great. It's been fun. I'm going to go get some more stuff done. And questions, comments, concerns, head over to the forums. And that's a good place to have a discussion about things more in depth. Let me know what you like about some of the latest videos I did, what you don't like, and what I should be doing next. Sometimes it's helpful when I hear feedback on there. I do enjoy hearing from you over in the forums. That is always welcome. I get people who think they know my email address. Someone actually called. They said, Tom's ignoring my emails. And they're like, what are they? And a person just wanted to say something, but they had my email address wrong, and I don't give it out. People just guess that what they think it is, and it goes to the Bitbucket in the sky because my domain doesn't bounce emails. That's not a flaw. I purposely send wrong emails to the Bitbucket in the sky because of the volume of email we get. So the forums is a good place to do it. Tag me in Twitter sometimes. To some extent, I will answer Twitter. That is more of a wild card. People who ask me for tech support on Twitter just get a forum link as a reply. So that's, yeah. But I'm easy to find online. That is the thing I always think about, is scalability and doing things at a many ratio. So if you have a question, directly message me on Twitter. For support's not the way to do it, but posting in a forum where a more in-depth discussion can occur and where others will also assist in answering questions. That's why I do things there. So like I said, head over to the forums. I'm there pretty much every day, numerous times per day, replying to many, many questions. So thank you. And I got the hiccups now for some reason. And I drink the hot sauce at the beginning of the video. So I'm going to stop now because now I can't stop hiccuping. All right, thanks.